Hello everyone and welcome to the September subscription tasting video. Today I have with me a colleague, Mr. Mats.
Hi, hi.
And we're going to taste 3 coffees from sending out to all our subscribers in the first Wednesday of September. Which means if you're watching this video, it is the first Wednesday of September. We're sending out 3 coffees that I choose every month, and you can subscribe to these coffees anywhere in the world. So we send to Norway, we send to the US a lot, we send some to Australia, we send to the UK, we send to Asia. And you can subscribe for up to 6 bags. That means if you do subscribe to 6 bags, you get 2 of each coffees. If you subscribe to 3 bags, you get 1 of each coffees. And if you subscribe to 1 bag, you get only the first coffee we're going to taste today. You can pause and stop the subscription at any time, so check it out on our website in the link below. But let's go on and taste. Mats, who are you? Tell our viewers who you are.
Yeah, my name is Mats. I've been working here for a little over 2 years now, and I'm the team leader in the roastery, and I'm also a roaster.
Yes.
And a barista. And yeah, I'm also helping out with prepping the subscription, so I'm doing a little bit of the shipping.
And roasting.
And roasting,
Sure.
yeah.
And you're also most likely going to start doing some courses here.
Yeah.
In this fall, so we are starting again a little bit to do tasting courses and stuff for public people, so they can come to see our roastery.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exciting. But you haven't been team leader for a roastery for a long time, it's just a few months?
Yeah, it's just a few months. So I've been, after Marit is leaving us, then I'll be taking over that position.
Yes, hopefully you'll be here as long as Marit.
Yeah.
Marit, who just left us, has been here for 9 months and been team leader in the roastery for the last years. And you're 3 people roasting, now we're only 2, so it's you and Daniel. So if you're getting these coffees, it's 50% chance that Mats has been roasting it. Yeah. And they're doing an amazing job because I'm kind of head of the quality control, but we kind of communicate how we do tests and everything, and they are the ones who execute the roast every day and follow the recipes and make sure that they do the quality control, so we don't send out any coffee that we don't want. And and that's quite strict, the quality control.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's good. Yeah. All right, so I think we're gonna start tasting because the rumors say that you started working in coffee because of Ethiopian coffee.
Yeah, actually it was, I remember it's several years ago now, I first tasted a washed Ethiopian coffee, and I remember it just blew my mind because it was so clean and very aromatic, and I just didn't know that coffee could be tasting like that.
Clean and aromatic.
Yeah, exactly. Because the coffees I was used to were very like bitter and unpleasant.
Yeah.
So.
And you probably drank coffee in your previous job, which was in a jam producing facility or something?
Yeah, that's right.
And normally the coffee in a factory like that is.
It was bad. It was you did it because it had the caffeine and not because of the taste.
Yeah. And then you started working for Espresso House.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a big chain here in Scandinavia. And did you drink good coffees there? Yeah,
we had some coffees that were good, and that also kind of sparked my interest in learning more about coffee. Yeah. And then I started to kind of do a little bit of research for myself, buy coffee from different places. And especially the Ethiopian coffees really just caught my attention. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the coffee you had that first time?
No, I don't remember the exact coffee, but it was a washed Ethiopian coffee. Yeah.
Great. For me it was actually almost the opposite. It was my first kind of coffee that sparked my interest was, believe it or not, a Monsoon Malabar, which is kind of an aged coffee that wasn't very high quality, the one we tasted here in Norway. And it tasted so different from anything else that I was used to. Yeah. But today I really don't like that style of coffee. I'm more into the Ethiopian, Kenyan, like the fruity, floral, light roasted coffees. Yeah. But back in 1998, the coffee scene was very different, and I remember tasting Ethiopian coffees and Kenyan coffees back then. They didn't taste fruity and floral at all because they were quite baked and slow roasted and dark roasted. So you kind of lose a lot of that aromatics when you do darker roast. You can still get some, especially in the Kenyans, but especially the washed Ethiopians are more delicate, I think, and a little bit harder to get those aromas out when you do a very dark roast. Should we taste the coffees?
Yeah.
Let's taste the coffees. Cool. So the first coffee is from Tatmara, the coffee plantation that we have been buying from for, I think, 4 years, maybe. It's in Ethiopia. It's run by Negusie Tadesse. And it's one of the most beautiful farms I've been to. It's kind of like a forest. And he grew up on that land and kind of bought it, or in Ethiopia, actually leased the land for like 100 years. And started cultivating coffee. So he basically just went into the forest, cleared the ground a little bit, not the trees, of course, and then planted coffee inside. So when you walk in there, you can see baboons, you can see spices growing, you can see coffee. There's a lot of weeds because he's doing organic practices. It's not certified, but it's the only kind of practices he does is to cut weeds by manually, like manual labor. And he doesn't spray the trees or anything. He doesn't even fertilize. So he lets the coffee grow into the forest. He has a few varieties, so 74112, which is a variety or cultivar. That's from the Jimma Agricultural Research Station. That's the first one we're tasting now. And then he has a few others, one called 74110, and then Whoosh Whoosh. The Whoosh Whoosh is very famous for being high quality, but he's not doing very well on his farm because it's not adapted to that type of climate. His farm is very high altitude, it rains a lot, and because he has a lot of shade, those trees doesn't like it too much inside that forest. But yeah. We're also supporting this farm with a wet mill. We collected money on our anniversary last year, so we gathered I think $5,000, but we're sending down $10,000, and there's also a French roastery supporting with $4,000, and Negusie is now building a wet mill as we speak. So hopefully that will be ready for the next harvest, which is in November, December. And then we can start getting some washed Ethiopian coffees.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's taste the first coffee.
Yeah.
And let me know what you taste.
I think it's very clean, even though it's natural processed.
Yeah.
Almost like it's very fruity.
Very fruity, yes.
I wouldn't say jammy, but quite fruity.
For me, it's maybe a little bit more like winey. But by winey, I mean more like kind of a red wine fruit or something like that. Especially this particular cultivar. And to be honest, I think the coffees this year is much less pronounced when it comes to the ferment flavors.
Yeah.
Last year, they were a little bit more upfront, meaning the flavor you get from fermenting the berries while you're drying them, because a natural process is basically picking berries and letting them dry. And then you have like a yeast fermentation inside each berry that creates volatile aromas like strawberry, sometimes banana, sometimes mango, sometimes pineapple, sometimes rotten olives.
Yeah.
Depends on how long you ferment, but these are basically picked and put on the tables.
Yeah.
I don't know because I haven't spoken to Negusie for a while, but I assume the weather was really nice this year because the coffees are really clean and well prepared. You see that they're very consistently dried and everything. So it doesn't have too much of that ferment flavor, although it's there for sure.
Yeah.
It's also a little floral, maybe? You think? Yeah. So think maybe for me tropical fruits, maybe a little bit of strawberry, a little bit of kind of wininess, and some floral notes.
Very smooth mouthfeel.
Yeah, yeah. And I think maybe that's the difference from this year to last year. Last year the mouthfeel was a little kind of not as smooth and rich. Now this year it feels a little bit more textural, I think.
Yeah.
Cool, so that's the first coffee we're sending out, the 74112 cultivar from Negusie and Tatmara Coffee Plantation, and it's a natural processed coffee from Ethiopia. And this farm is in Kaffa, so far away from Yirgacheffe and Sidama. It's on the more the southwest, closer to Jimma, but you have to drive all the way to Bonga and then into the forest there. That's where the coffee is. And that's kind of the birthplace of coffee, although we know that coffee grows everywhere wild in Africa, but Arabica is kind of, the birthplace is kind of Sudan, Kenya, Ethiopia, somewhere like that. All right, second coffee. Did you like the first one?
I loved it.
Yeah. Take a guess what this is, at least the country.
This is also very fruity.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it is Kenya.
Definitely Kenyan coffee.
Yeah.
Quite a typical Kenyan coffee, I would say.
Mm.
Very intense, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
What kind of notes do you get?
Definitely some red fruits.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, very juicy.
Yeah.
Mouthfeel.
Yeah. And quite intense. I do get a little slight herbal note as well.
Yeah.
But only slightly. This is a Kenyan coffee from Warenew, which is a growers group in Embu. We've been buying this coffee for a few years as well. These guys are the ones who taught me how to plant coffee trees. Meaning they dig big holes and put manure and organic material in the hole in order to let the tree grow faster. So the roots will grow much faster and establish themselves, and they become more robust. And they produce a lot of coffee per tree. They call themselves organic. They're not organic for sure, because they use a lot of sprays for leaf rust, which is a problem in Kenya. So they wouldn't be able to certify themselves as organic for sure. But they use less kind of fertilizer because they're using more goat manure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Embu is a different area than the Nieri coffees we sent out earlier, but it's still kind of the same cultivars. This is mainly SL28 and Ruru 11. Most of the farmers here grow SL28 because that's what they're encouraged to plant. But there are some farmers who deliver coffee here who has Ruru 11 as well. So it's kind of a mix between the two. As far as I know, they haven't been planting a lot of the Batian. So yeah, they all taste very similar, I would say, those cultivars. If they're cultivated well, they taste very similar. So should we compare it to the Tatmara? See how it tastes like.
Yeah.
Anything you notice?
Maybe that the Kenyan is a bit lighter.
Yeah.
And yeah, more juicy.
Yeah.
And
I think the acidity is more kind of pronounced. It's higher acidity, I would say.
Yeah.
And that makes it kind of feel more refreshing and juicy. Whereas the Tatmara is kind of more of a deep, kind of ripe berry kind of flavor or fruit flavor. Cool. So the second coffee, Warenew from Kenya, from Embu. And hello, all the farmers at Warenew. Third coffee, also from Tatmara, so the same farm as the first coffee, just a different cultivar. Let's see if we can taste the difference. Make sure you have some of this. What do you think?
Very smooth as well. I think there's a little bit more of the. You can taste the natural process a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree.
With the fermentation.
Yeah.
But it's not overpowering.
No.
It's very like subtle still.
Maybe a little bit more of that kind of fresh strawberry and mango flavor rather than the more kind of winey, heavier notes from this. If we think colors, for me at least, this would be more like purple, and this is more like bright red and orange, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how we should label the bags. So these are two different cultivars. So the first one was the 74112, the other one is 74110. They both come from the same research station, but what they have done there is to gather seeds from different areas or mother trees and planted them, and then you have to take seeds from those trees in order for them to be stable. That means the tree, if you plant the seeds from the second generation, you might not get the same outcome. because the cultivar is not necessarily stable.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very popular cultivar in Ethiopia, the 74110. You find it a lot, and it normally has this kind of very floral, citrusy character. But when you ferment it, or when you dry it as a natural, you also get these kind of strawberry notes, mango notes. Yeah. So when you say clean natural, what do you mean by that?
What I mean is that it's not like unpleasantly fermented.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, like rotten olives. For me, there's this limit. If it's too much of that fermented taste, then it's not something I want to drink every day. So, yeah.
I mean, we're more used to drinking washed coffee in this company, so maybe that's why. But,
maybe.
I think what you're mentioning there, the limit, like a lot of people talk about threshold. So your threshold is maybe here, maybe a little bit more fruit. But some people, like Jamie, who works for Nordic Approach, his threshold is much higher.
Yes.
Like he loves the more the merrier almost. So he's much more into that kind of ferment flavor.
Yeah.
And that's very individual. So when people say clean natural, for me that doesn't really, it's not very describing to me because I don't know where your threshold is.
No.
I know you, so I know what you mean. But a lot of tasters have a much higher tolerance to those kind of ferment flavors. And some cuppers have extremely low tolerance. So for instance, my wife, she cannot be in the same room when I drink Tatmara because she can't stand the natural kind of processed flavors. Yeah. Whereas I really enjoyed this kind of natural. I think it's very kind of peachy and juicy and fruity. And we have served it as iced coffee in our coffee shop this summer, and it's been so good. Yeah. So I think it has a place, and there's no right or wrong here. It's just different preferences, I think. But what I do find out very often when I say clean natural, I normally mean a natural where you can't taste that it's a natural. But for me, this has a clean ferment flavor, which is very good. It's like fresh fruits. It's not like overripe fruit. And it doesn't have a lot of that kind of Quakery flavors that you sometimes get in poorly processed naturals, where you basically take unripe, ripe coffee and dry it together. And then you end up with a lot of these kind of Quakers, the lighter beans. And it tastes like peanuts. And you get it very often in the finish in the coffee. Like it tastes fruit up front, and then you get this kind of peanutty flavor. So I think Negusi is doing a very good job. They're doing hand sorting on the farm. They're separating the cultivars and doing a very good job there. Which one was your favorite?
Maybe the last one, actually. Because it was very like expressive. Had a lot of that fruitiness. More
that kind of floral notes you get in a washed Ethiopian. Yeah, it's so hard to choose for me because they're all very good, but different in flavor. Yeah. I think maybe also the Kenyan. Maybe because I've been tasting that coffee for a few years now. This year it's tasting really, really good and so intense, so much fruit. I believe Kenya had a very good season, the last harvest. Most of the coffees we bought were amazing, I think. Yeah. So, and it's not every year that you have that kind of selection where you think like everything is great. You know, sometimes it's like one lot that is fantastic and the other ones are good. But this year they're all really like super ripe and very nice. Cool. Anything else? No? Great. Thanks for watching the video, and thanks to Mats for joining us. I hope you enjoy these coffees as much as we do. It's September, so hopefully the rest of the month will be at least some nice weather, so we can enjoy these fruity coffees. And then next month we will for sure have some interesting coffees and maybe a little bit broader selection when it comes to flavor diversity, at least. So stay tuned for that video, and if you don't subscribe to the coffees, you can go to our website and start subscribing. You can stop or pause or upgrade or downgrade anytime you like. Now we actually have a new platform on our website that makes it much easier to do that. So we're trying to improve the website as well, and soon we're actually launching a new website. So that will be very interesting to see how that goes. Cool. Thanks for watching,
Cool.
and thank you, Mats.
Thank you.
And have a good September.